Alright, hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make a rendered and wireframe turntable in Unreal Engine, such as the one you're looking at right now. So to start off, we're going to go ahead and go into Maya. So here you can see I have my low poly version of my model, and it has different sections and components, which makes it much easier for the texturing process and everything. But pretty much what you're going to want to do here is going to go to the UV editing tool, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to select either everything or however many objects are in your UV map. So for me, I have two UV maps, one for the body and one for the clothes. So you can start with the body. You're going to go ahead and select just all the objects that are included there by shift selecting. And let's see here. And the tail, and as you can see, I have already UV unwrapped and put the layout there. Next, you're going to go ahead and go to Image and to UV Snapshot. And then you can click there, and here you'll get the Options menu. Under File Name, you're going to want to Browse, and here is where it's going to export to. So I want it to go to a very specific place, so I'm going to go ahead and just find my area. I'm going to put it under here for wireframes, and then you can name the file. So I'm going to go ahead and name this body wireframe for mine. Next, you're going to want to go ahead and save, and then you're going to go ahead and click apply. And just quickly, these are settings that you can edit if you want to, but I prefer to keep mine as a JPEG at around 280 with the edge color being white. So click apply. Then it has now been saved. So if we go into my files and look at where I saved it, you can see that now I have this image of the wireframe. Now I'm just quickly going to do the same thing for all of the clothing items. As you can see here, I'm going to go once again to Image, UV Snapshot, and then just browse, make sure that it's in the right area. I want this to be in wireframe as well, and I want this one to be clothes wireframe. There we go. So then save that and apply. And just to double check again, yep, now we got that saved there. And then we are done in Maya. Next up, I just want to show you guys how to get the textures ready for Unreal as well. So here I have a finished textured model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Export Textures, and then under Settings here, make sure that all of the different UV maps you want are selected, and then you want to choose where it's going to be saved to. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and go to here for this tutorial and textures and select this folder. Next, you want to make sure that it's under Unreal Engine 4 Packed, almost at the end here. And file type PNG, Apex, rest of this should be good to go. So now we just go ahead and click export. And now it has exported everything that we're going to need. So that's what we only need to do in Substance Painter. Now we want to go into Unreal. So I've already set up a scene with lighting and a background. But if you have not, you just want to set up something easy or complicated, whatever you feel like. And then you want to go ahead and import the model. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just import everything under tutorial here for myself. So I just want to grab out this one. Here I have my low poly version of my model, which is the one you're going to want to be using. And you go ahead and just drag that and set it in here. And I don't have a skeletal mesh on mine or anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and import everything like that. And here you can see that it imports along with the two materials, because when I exported the object, I only exported the selected low poly version. You can just ignore that wording for now. Then we're going to go ahead and drag it out, and I'm just going to scale it up. There we go, turn them around, and here you can see the model is now in. So here is where we're going to set up the materials we're going to need to create these turntables. So first and foremost, we got the materials that are going to have the textures in them. In order to make sure everything's good here, we're going to go ahead and just create a new folder for textures. I just do this for organization. And then under my files, I'm going to go ahead and grab all of these file textures. And I'm just going to import them in here. Next up, and this is really important to do, is you're going to want to open up in your content drawer. I just use Control and plus in order to open up quickly. And you're going to see these green ones. You're going to want to go ahead and open those. And right here, under the settings and details, you want to uncheck sRGB. And then go ahead and save. So I'm going to do that for the other one as well. And you want to do this before you start importing any textures into the materials. Now I can go ahead and open both of the materials since I have two materials. Move this works. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and start the body here. I'm going to go ahead and remove the parameter. And then I'm going to go into textures. I can see here that these are for my body, as it says body here. And it's going to be these 4 ones. You might be missing this one that I'm missing. Don't worry about that. I only have that because I have an eye that glows. But unless you have something glowing, then you won't need the emissive one. How I like to set everything up in here is put my base material here, and then you take this RGB and go ahead and connect it to base color. Next, you take the blue one, which is the normal map. You go ahead and connect that into normal. Next up, you're going to go ahead and connect this one, which is, once again, the emissive color, which if you don't have, just ignore this, but you can put that into emissive color here. And last but not least, we have the greenish looking one. It always has a hint of green in it, at least. Ambient occlusion map. And here it gets a bit complicated. You're going to take the B, and you're going to want to connect that to metallic. You're going to take the R, and you're going to connect that to ambient occlusion. You're going to take the G, and you're going to be connecting that to roughness. Now you can just go ahead and save, and the material will automatically update on your model. So now you can see we have the skin texture and everything's looking good, so there's no problems. We're just going to go ahead and really quickly redo that here as well. So now I just select these guys right here, and there we go. And then I just like to organize everything in this specific way, just for my own organizational purposes. So once again, base color goes there, normal goes here, emissive color goes here. There we go. Blue to metallic, red to ambient occlusion, and green to roughness. And once again, save. So now we have all of the textures on. Next up, we're going to want to create a texture for the wireframe. In order to do this, we're going to go ahead and open up our content drawer. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder for wireframe here. And here, we're going to go ahead and create a material where you right click inside here, and then you go to material. And then you just name the material whatever you want to. I'm going to be naming it mat_wireframe. And then we're going to do body, and I need 2 since I have 2 UV like maps. So I'm going to go create one that is mat_wireframe clothes. There we go. And now we're just going to want to go ahead and open those ones as well. We just open both of them at once. They're up here. If we go to the body here, now we're going to need to do some editing in Photoshop before we continue. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up Photoshop right here. And this is because these wireframes that we have, we need to inverse them so that they will be white with black lines instead of black with white lines, or both work. But that's just how I prefer to show mine. So I'm going to go ahead and just open the file, and we're going to want to just go to the right one, tutorial, wireframe. There we go. So I'm going to select this body wireframe. And then you just want to go ahead and go to Image, Adjustments, and Invert. You can use whatever editing software you have. You just want to get the image inverted. From here, I just go ahead and export, and go Export As. And then I'm going to export it as a JPEG. I like to have it at the highest quality. And then I just let it in export. And personally, I'm just going to go ahead and replace the other texture that I had. So I'm going to go here, scroll, textures, those are wireframes, there we go. Click here, save. I want to place it, yes. And there we go. Now you can go ahead and do the same with the other one. Go here, into an image, adjustments, invert, you also just Control I. And then go to export, export as, and export. Now just click there to replace it. And now I can just go ahead and exit out of Photoshop. And I do not want to save these personally. Next up, we're back in Unreal. We're going to want to go ahead and open up that content browser. And now you want to go up to your files, find out wherever you have those wireframes, and then just select both of them and drag them in. Now you're going to go ahead and add each one into whichever material you need for. So this is my body wireframe. I'm going to go ahead and take the body wireframe here and just put it in. And all you have to do is connect this RGB into base color. Then you get just go ahead and save. Now I'm just quickly going to do that here as well with the clothes into base color. Save. And now I'm going to go ahead and go back to my third person map. And now we can test out to see if these materials look good. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into my content folder, and I'm going to select and drag the different materials. I'm going to take this one for the body, hover over the body, and release. And there you can see we've got a beautiful wireframe going on. A little bit rusted some places. This can be fixed by, when exporting the image, having a higher quality. But the only thing is then the lines will become thinner, so it might be harder to see. So I prefer to keep it at this quality. Next up, we're going to do the clothes, so you can see those as well. And there we go. Now we got the entire thing wireframed. So pretty much to switch between the two, I just go ahead and drag whatever I need. Next up, we're going to want to go ahead and create a sequence so that we can start rendering that turntable. So how to do that is you go up to here, to the little film thingamabobber, click the drop down, and we're going to go ahead and add a level sequence. And then here, I already have an area where I save my sequence, so I'm just going to do this as a tutorial, but you can do whatever you want to. And there we go. So now that we have this open, we're going to go ahead and set up the actual scene. So in order to do this, we're going to want to add a camera and the actors. So in order to do that, we can start by clicking on Create a New Camera Sets in Current Camera Cuts, this camera picture right here, and that will go ahead and add a signed camera actor. And as you can see now, when these edges are cropped, that means that we're looking through the camera. So you can just go ahead and adjust that however you want it here. You can see it's a bit blurry and stuff, but I'm just going to get a nice setup just to begin. Just around there. And then quickly, I believe it's the camera aperture, yes. So to fix the blurriness that we have there, just go down into camera components, current aperture, and just go ahead and increase that. You can see that it's already becoming much clearer. Let's see, then we can just go ahead and leave the camera. How to get out of the camera view is you go to the sign camera actor here, hover over, and then click. And now you can see I'm back to just the normal setting where I can just turn around normal perspective mode. Another thing I personally like to do is I like to add in a object for the character to be standing on so that it looks like it's being turned around. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a cylinder right here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and shape that however I want it. Let's see, something like this. Then go ahead and adjust that to be right under. Then I'm going to go ahead and select my character. Just do this. I like to take a little above, and then a way for you to snap the character to be perfectly standing is to just hold Shift and then click End. It did not work this time, but usually it does. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of place him down to where we think he is connected to the floor. We'll say right about there. Alright, so now we have a nice basic setup. So we got a camera, and now I'm going to show you guys how to make both the object and this thing turn around and perfectly so that it will work. So first things first, this is set to 30 FPS. I'm going to want to set this to 24 FPS. So that is just up here. And then click and go to 24 FPS. And down here you can then decide how long you want it to be. Now, I'm going to want to do about 15 seconds worth each time, so we've got to do that math. I can't do math in my head, so I'm going to go ahead and take a calculator. All right, so 24 times 15 seconds, 360, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to 360. That way we have a longer amount we can work with. Perfect. And can you just go ahead and drag this over to about 360? And I'm assuming you can use this thing to help you find the exact number. And it is actually all the way over there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. You can adjust this to be able to see more, but I'm just going to leave it like this for now. And then you can see here, we're going to want to drag this one out to match our timing. So there, now we have it at 360. I'm going to just want to go ahead and, if you take a hold of this one here and then drag it upwards, you'll be able to see more. So now I can see like the entire sequence length. All right, next up, we're going to go ahead and go to track here, the plus button, click this, and then go to actor to sequencer. And here you're going to want to go ahead and select your character and the cylinder. So I'm going to start by selecting the cylinder here. There you go. And now we have the cylinder in the sequencer. So what we can do here is that we can go ahead and transform it a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and click on transform down. And we're going to want to change the rotation. And go down, and we're going to be using the yaw. So under yaw here, just go ahead and click here, make sure that you're on 0, and just go ahead and click this plus button to add a keyframe. And we want it to start at 0. Now we're going to want this to turn around 3 full loops. Since we're going to have 15 seconds and 5 seconds for each full loop turn. So that means we're going to go ahead and do 360 times 3. So we're going to go ahead and take this to end, which is going to be at 360. We're going to find the exact length there. Just make sure this is adjusted. And here we're going to go ahead and change the yaw to be 360 times 3, which is 1080. And there we go. Then we're just going to click wherever, and you can see now that it's created another keyframe. So now I can show you guys that it will be spinning. This just helps create the illusion that it is in fact spinning. So if we go and hit play, you can see the fact that it's moving. It looks like it's being moved. The thing we're going to want to just change really quickly. So far, Unreal has it automatically set to where it's going to slow down in the beginning and slow down in the start. We want to edit that. So we go ahead, make sure that we're under cylinder somewhere. Then go ahead and click on this one right here to show the animation keyframes. And here we can see that the cylinder's here, and we know that we've edited the yaw, so we go ahead and click here. And here you can see that this is almost like an S, it's curved. We don't want that, we want it to be straight. So go ahead and select this point, and then you go to these arrows right here, and you're going to want to go ahead and click linear. You just do the same for this one right here as well. Click here, and go to linear. Now it is going to move completely smoothly. It's going to have no slowing or stoppage. Now let's go ahead and do that exact same thing to the character. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to track, we're going to go to actor to sequence, and now I'm going to go ahead and find my actor. So I have Low Poly Combined is the name of my actor right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click him, and then set the time to 0 here. And here we're going to do the same as last time. Go under transform, make sure you're under your character. And then we're going to go to rotation. And then the yaw. Here you can see that the yaw is automatically set to -90. So we're going to go ahead and leave it like that. I'm going to go ahead and plus here. This can change depending on how your character's facing. It's just kind of based on how my setup is. So whatever your number is here, that is fine. But what you're going to want to do is take this number and then add 360 add 360 another time, and add 360 the last time. Or in other words, what you can do is you can take this number plus 1080. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say 1080 minus 90. That's going to give me 990. So now that the keyframe is set here, I'm going to go back here to 360. And I'm going to go ahead and add a keyframe. And this keyframe is going to be 990. Boom. All right, now let's double check that everything's working well. So we go back here. Now we can see that it is moving mostly as it should. But as you'll be able to see at the end here, it is going to slow down. So we're going to need to edit that key. There we go. So we'll just go ahead and pause here. And then go ahead and go back into that animation curve. Now we got that low poly combined, or your character model. You're going to have to transform, rotation, and yaw. And here we go. Then once again, just go ahead and select linear, select linear. Perfect. And now everything should be lined up. So next up is actually creating the renders. So now we're going to want to go ahead and go back to the camera, which is going to be up here, sign after. I'm going to go ahead and click back on so you can see how the camera looks. So just clicking this one right here. And I want to go ahead and set this up. I'm going to set this camera quickly so that it is going to look how I want it to look. So here is where you can start like editing the camera, moving around. Like I like how this looks. It's like looking-ish centered. And you don't have to worry about any of these other things in there. They're going to disappear once you start rendering. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to 1. And let's say I think this looks good. I'm going to start out by doing my wireframes since it's already on there. And how you're going to do that is you're going to want to use this, the render movie or video. Now, the best way to do this is to go ahead and add a plugin that is called the movie queue. So most likely you will not have this on unless you've already used it, in which case you're just going to go to edit up here, and you're going to want to go to plugins. And then under plugins, you're going to want to go ahead and search up movie queue. So here we have the movie render queue, and if it's unchecked, just go ahead and check it. And after that, it's going to ask you to restart Unreal. And so you just go ahead and make sure you've saved everything, and then you go ahead and do that. And then you're going to have it available. I already have it available, so I'm just going to go ahead and go to the next step. So what happens next is you're going to render out the sequence itself. So you click here on this render movie to video image frequency, and this will pop up if you have the movie render queue. Here we're going to want to go ahead and click on the settings here, which is unsaved config. And here we're just going to want to take a look at a few different things. First and foremost, the exports. This is exporting it as a JPEG sequence. So we're going to get a bunch of images, which is what we want. We can just kind of ignore the rendering for now, and then we want to take a good look at the output, because here in the output directory is where it's going to like save out the images. So here I'm going to go to my tutorial, and I'm going to go ahead and create one that's called Turntable. And just to make it easy for myself, I'm going to go ahead and create another folder in here that is going to be Wireframe renders. Okay, next up, just click in here, and now I can select that folder. Here it will show you what type of filing we'll have. This one works well, so you can just keep it as this. Output resolution, 920 by 1080 is always recommended. And then the frame rates. So you want it to be at 24 frame rates, most likely. If not, you can change it here. Just use custom frame rate. But I'm going to keep it at 24. And everything else looks good here, so I'm going to go ahead and click accept. And then we're going to go ahead and render. So I'm going to render locally. So click here now, go there. Aha! So here you can see it is rendering out the amount of frames. Looks like we have 361. So accidentally got one more, but that doesn't really matter. And waiting for it to render out all the images. All right, perfect. I just want to double check in my files. Here is all the images. And we should have 361. 360 actually, that's perfect. Okay, so let's say we're happy with that for now. Just exit out of this. Next up, I'm going to want to do the same thing for the textured version of the model. So I'm going to go ahead and just open up the content explorer, and here I have my textured materials. Just going to go ahead and drag that onto the body, and drag this onto his clothes. And he is now ready to go. So now we just do the exact same thing essentially. Go ahead and go into render this review video. Make sure you don't move the camera to get a smooth transition. And now I'm just going to go ahead and change the output, which you can also just change here. And I'm going to go to Turntable, and I'm going to create a new one for, let's see, textured renders. There we go. And here. Go ahead and save. Actually, we got to go into the unsaved config here, and then we got to go for the alpha interpreter, because if not, it's going to put it in the Wireframe one. So go into texture. Everything is good here, accept, and then we are good to go. Just render locally. Here we got the same as last time, just has to render out each of the frames. And there we go. Then once again, we just want to double check that everything is good to go there. Just gonna go into Turntable and textured renders. And here we are, everything's looking good. Alright, now we can just go ahead and exit. And then hopefully we've done everything that we need to do in Unreal. I'm just gonna go ahead and save all for exiting out of the app. Next up, you're going to want to use a video editor. I'm using Premiere Pro. So you just go ahead and open it up and create like a new project. Just create a blank project, and then we're going to go ahead and import from here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go into Edit, and I'm going to go, File, and then I'm going to go to Import. Now we're going to go ahead and import all those images. So how we're going to do that is go to wherever you have all those images that were rendered out from Unreal. So for me, that's going to be under Tutorial, Turntable, and we'll start with the textured version. So go and click here, and you're just going to want to go ahead and click on the very first one. And then you see here, it's going to have image sequence. You want to go ahead and make sure that that is checked. And once you check that, click Open. It is then going to go ahead and create that into a video. So that for me now appeared right here. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that out here and set it. And let's see, we can see that it does not match the sequence's settings to match the clip settings. So we're going to go ahead and change the sequence setting. And here you can see we now have the textured version where it's turning around. And we're going to go ahead and do the same for the wireframe. So File. Takes a while for it to load. There we go. Import. And we're going to go ahead and go to the wireframe renders. Go ahead and select number 0. Image sequence is selected, and then open. And now we have this one. You can go ahead and drag that in. And I just want to put them after each other. Now I'm just going to go ahead and set this up in a typical way you would want to for like finals, for example. So that is going to be 1 turn of render, 1 turn of wireframe, and 1 turn of render again. So we're going to start by just cutting it down. Now the reason I made these turn 3 times is because sometimes when you're rendering in Unreal, the rendering isn't quite uniform. Like you can see in the beginning here, the lighting in the back here is changing, and it's very like off-putting. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go to the middle section. So I'm going to find wherever I think it is that he starts. Looks about this frame. And if you hold in Alt and scroll in over, while like hovering over here, it would like go in and you can look closer, which makes it easier to find the exact frame you're looking for. So I'm going to look for about this one here. All right, zoom out. Then I'm just going to go ahead and drag this when it's holding red here to the lines I found. Now I'm going to want to go ahead and find after it's done a full loop, it's going to be somewhere around here. So I'm going to go and zoom in here. You're going to want to go ahead and go right about there. Looks pretty good. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Then go ahead and just drag this one. Just an easy way to like shorten it. I just want to go ahead and drag this all the way to the edge. And this is also another way you can like zoom around. If not, it is just like hold Alt and then zoom in and out. Very nice way of doing it. Next up, we're going to go ahead and drag this guy here. We can do the exact same thing for the wireframe. So here, we're going to go ahead and see somewhere around here. There we go. Looks like he's facing completely straight forward. And then right around here as well. And he is indeed facing forward here. Go ahead and take that away right there. Perfect. Now we're just going to go ahead and put this one here. And then I'm going to copy this one, the textured one. Make sure I'm at the end here. Just paste and then drag that and it's going to snap. So now when I play it, you're able to see that we got the textured going into the rendered seamlessly, then once again going into the textured seamlessly. And it is 15 seconds long, which is, at least for my school, like the standard. All right, now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and go to export. Gonna let that load. And here you can go ahead and name the file. So I'm going to go ahead and do tutorial render. And then .mp4. Here you can choose the location. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and go to tutorial, turntable. I'm just going to go ahead and save it right here. And then I like to go here and have it as a high quality 1080p HD. And then you can just double check everything. Here you can see that it is a 1920 by 1080, which is perfect, 24 frames per second. Everything looks good to go. Then I'm going to go ahead and export. And there we go. Now the video is exported. So let's go ahead and take a look. And there we go. And that, my friends, is how you make a turntable render with both the texture and wireframe version of an object in Unreal Engine 5. Thank you guys, and good luck. Just let me know if you guys have any more questions.